My guest today is Phillip Alexaeev. Phillip is the Chief Growth Officer at CrossFi. CrossFi is a next-generation digital ecosystem offering a variety of cutting-edge payment solutions. Lots going on here: DeFi, payment tech, blockchain, of course. Welcome to the show, Phillip.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It is a pleasure to have you here, Phillip. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show, just before we jump into the wonderful world of CrossFi. Would be cool if you could please introduce yourself. I'd love to hear a little bit of your personal and professional backstory. What have you been doing in the lead up to becoming a Chief Growth Officer at CrossFi?
Totally. Yeah. So I would say my career, I like to summarize it in a nutshell as running growth marketing for emerging industries. So basically, I've spent the last, well, at this point, over a decade, which I guess dates me to some extent, but I have been working in the growth marketing capacity for industries such as 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, cryptocurrency, AI. And so kind of what I do professionally is I find industries that are just starting to emerge, just starting to find product market fit, something that could potentially be something interesting and revolutionary for society. And I work with those companies to apply my skill set, which is really, focused on customer acquisition, on sort of getting folks into the funnel, making sure that they most efficiently flow through the company's funnel, and then ultimately turn into paying customers and advocates for a product or for a service. And so, over the last, I would say 12, 13 years, I've really been focusing on kind of that side of things. And, as far as the crypto part of my story, it really interesting. When I was working at a company called Sketchfab, which has since been acquired by Epic Games, I kind of got around to thinking about, unfortunately, the fact that our financial system here in the U.S. and a bit kind of applies worldwide is broken, to be frank. And so started looking into alternatives to kind of look at what else is out there. This can't be the only way that we can transact peer to peer. This can't be the only way that we do payments, throughout the entire world. And so stumbled upon Bitcoin and Ethereum, early investor in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think from there, really, I had a spark of an idea one night. There are a lot of companies in the space that are real companies with real products that need users, that need to get folks into the funnel and to, monetize and to generate revenue. And so my thought was, why don't I just apply the same skill set that I've been applying to all of these other emerging industries to these crypto companies? And that spark of an idea led me to work with some really interesting companies like Decentraland back in the day, CoinList very early on, spent a couple of years at Binance running growth for their DeFi portfolio. And at this point in my career, I've worked with dozens of very interesting crypto companies, both large and small, to really help them kind of power their growth engine and to acquire users, to engage those users, convert them into paying customers, and ultimately brand ambassadors. So yeah, that's kind of been my journey leading up to working at CrossFi.
Absolutely fascinating, Phil. Thanks for that. And yeah, I mean, it's fascinating when you kind of think about things in that context. One of the big one of the problems or the issues or the challenges, I suppose, that crypto companies have is, and it's what all companies have, right? User acquisition. Now, there are a lot of strategies that people such as yourself can kind of apply to that problem. But the best, I think, the best strategy, and I'm sure you'll agree, is just a crypto bull market. There's nothing like a crypto bull market for acquiring new users. And I guess at this point, I haven't put a podcast out for, maybe a week or so. So
Right.
just, it's amazing to see what a difference a Trump win and the election will make in the markets. Just looking at, Bitcoin is now, 86,380. Just looking at it now. Been an incredible week last week. This week looks like a monster week. It's suddenly a good time to be in the crypto markets, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, I think my motto is build during the bear market and then celebrate during the bull market. I think, the way that I look at the industry as a whole is people follow the money. And I think when you look at sort of the fear and greed index, when everybody's fearful, all of a sudden, people start looking elsewhere and thinking about, other ways that they can sort of generate profits, right? And as soon as there's an inkling that, potentially we have a bull run coming and prices are sort of skyrocketing, that is when the attention comes back to the industry. But, having been through multiple cycles of bear and bull at this point in my career, what I've noticed is that the people that spend their time building during the bear market are usually the ones that reap the biggest benefits, that reap the biggest rewards when the bull run does come. And of course, there are outliers, there are edge cases, there are people who sort of just happen to get lucky and time the market well. But I think, from a fundamentals perspective, and I'm big on fundamentals, I think companies that are really focused on developing amazing products that solve real problems and create, really good user experiences that aren't necessarily influenced by the price of Bitcoin or by where the market is swinging. I think those are the companies that are here for longer periods of time that ultimately end up being more successful. And whether immediate or not, I think are the ones that end up sort of gaining the trust and the user confidence to be able to succeed in the market. So, to answer your question, yes, right now is a phenomenal time to be in crypto, but I think even more so the bear market has really been, at least personally, has been really good to me because I have met so many extremely smart, extremely successful people that are bullish not on the fact that the market will go up, but are bullish on the fact that this is actually revolutionary technology. This will change the way that we live. This will change the way that that we relate to money. And so, I think if not today, then yesterday, and if not yesterday, then tomorrow. I think it's always been a good time to be in crypto if you truly believe in what we're doing here and what we're building.
Yes, indeed. Very well put. All right. Well, let's start to learn a bit about CrossFi then, Phil. So, there's quite a bit going on here. So, I'm sure maybe just begin at a high level and just talk us through the idea, what CrossFi is, and then we can, look at who it's for and so on.
So in its essence, CrossFi is an ecosystem, right? Much like other kind of layer one blockchain projects, it's not simply the blockchain that is the, sort of core component, but it's everything that revolves around it. And so fundamentally, CrossFi is a layer one blockchain that was initially built to support our flagship payment product, which, to me, I would say as it relates to the retail market is probably one of the more interesting aspects of CrossFi as an ecosystem. We have built a true non-custodial on-chain payment technology that allows you to connect any Web3 wallet to the CrossFi app and then be able to spend your tokens from your wallet without having to transfer them to any exchange, without having to use any middleman. Spend your tokens at any point of sale terminal in the entire world with either a physical or a virtual card. And so, I think when we had imagined this product 5 years ago, when CrossFi was just an idea, we started really thinking about how do we turn this into reality. And so we realized very quickly that none of the existing blockchain technology would actually be able to support the scale, the security, the sort of overall kind of conditions that we would need for a technology like this to exist and to actually be successful in the world. And so, of course, we decided to build our own layer one blockchain. On top of that blockchain, we started developing our flagship payment technology. And then, of course, as a blockchain ecosystem matures, you start seeing all of these different satellite tangential kind of projects, right? So we have some very talented developers that are building really cool products on top of the CrossFi blockchain. We have a whole suite of amazing, revolutionary, I would say, definitely pushing the boundaries of what's possible, DeFi tools that are built on top of the CrossFi blockchain. And, basically any area of crypto that you can think of, whether it be GameFi, AI, DePIN, we have teams that are building these types of products on the CrossFi blockchain. And so, as the ecosystem matures, it sort of becomes larger and more complicated to a certain extent. But I think the beauty of it is that we have a segment to serve all niches and all types of users. And so, again, where we are now is kind of what I had illustrated previously, but I think where we're going is really becoming a full-fledged ecosystem that kind of serves every type of user, whether it be a retail crypto user, a non-native crypto user, the sort of institutional side of things, the banks, any kind of use case you can think of. I think CrossFi is really developing with that in mind. And so, every time I talk about it, we seem to be evolving and adding another layer to the mix.
Yeah, it's an incredibly ambitious when you frame it like that, Phil. And just looking through the CrossFi website, which listeners is simply crossfi.org. Link, of course, will be in the show notes. But yeah, there's a wealth of information and, of course, links to, the app and various parts of the DeFi ecosystem. There's a foundation, of course. So an incredible amount going on, a deep and richly layered ecosystem already. Who would you say then, if Phil, as you point out, that you are effectively, creating products and services for, almost every different kind of crypto niche or user need or client base, who would you say is the kind of closest competitor to what you guys are doing? Do you think of it in terms of competitors or not really? How would you kind of frame where you sit in the broader crypto ecosystem?
It's a great question. I think the way that we think about our ecosystem is really segmented into the types of products that we create and what types of users those products serve. And so, when we think about CrossFi, we don't think about CrossFi as one entity. We think of CrossFi as a collection of entities that are built to serve specific purposes. So, for example, I talked about the DeFi tools. These are users that are looking to come in, use our blockchain to generate yields, use some of our innovative financial instruments to, trade, swap, lend, borrow, whatever the case might be. And so we built those suite of products for that intended use case. Now, when it comes to our payments technology, the reason that we had built that technology is to kind of appeal to a broader retail market, right? So folks that might not necessarily even be deeply involved in crypto, but are looking for a better way to send money to their peers or to be able to spend their crypto in the real world, which, to this day has just been such a hard thing to do. And so when you look at that product, that is kind of more of a mass adoption product, a more global product. Of course, we have our blockchain, right, where we focus on developers. We focus on people who need a very strong, scalable, secure, basically foundation to build off of and a set of tools that they can use to then realize their ideas and sort of, turn their dreams into reality. And so when I think about growth of the CrossFi ecosystem, I don't think about us and then having a competitor. I don't think there's any one competitor to all of the different things we're building. I think of everything as its own, dedicated product, its own dedicated set of customers, their own needs, their own wants, and their own goals. And so that is how we kind of approach strategy and tactics for each of those.
Yeah. Okay, that's very well explained, Phil. Yeah, bringing it back to, I guess, what we were talking about before, and this is your specialty. I guess love to understand how you think about, CrossFi in particular, but in terms of, that next wave of adoption. as we've kind of talked about, bull markets are the best attractor for adoption and new users. And, I guess traditionally some of those users stick around when and if the bear market hits. A lot don't, but some do. And then that's just how kind of these tech adoption cycles happen. But of course, you'll have your own growth tactics. So, yeah, what do you see happening for the different components of CrossFi, and what are you doing to, I guess, make the most of bringing in new users and helping grow that wider crypto adoption?
When I think about the most successful companies in the crypto space and what differentiates them from, competitors or from other products in the crypto space, I always come back to the one concept of confidence, user confidence. I think when you have two equal products and you have one that might even be better than the other, but one of these products has allocated the time and the resources to building confidence for its user base, and the other one is mostly just dedicated to building and shipping and features and updates, there is going to be a clear winner. And so to your point, you say bull markets kind of are the best drivers of user acquisition. Well, I think we've seen this before in the crypto ecosystem, even recently with things like tap games, right? Telegram tap games. You can have this massive influx of users, and to the point we've all heard the startup break your servers, user acquisition, the website goes down because there's so many people trying to reach it. But really, I think the name of the game is retention, almost always, and the businesses that are able to retain users are the businesses that stick around. And so when you think about this whole new wave of people that I guess the market creates the awareness, right? I think that's step one. At the top of any funnel that you look at in marketing, awareness is always kind of like the tippy top, right? That is kind of like where users hear about things, they get interested, they start understanding that it's worth a deeper look. And so when the market swings upward, it creates this mass awareness that I think then needs to be capitalized on by building confidence. And the way that you build that confidence is through content, is through simple user interfaces, is through, building an understanding of exactly how the product that you're bringing to market helps users achieve their goals. And so everything that I do from a growth perspective somehow ties back to building user confidence. And so when you look at, really the distribution channels and the mechanics of distributing information in the crypto industry, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, at this point you have your kind of media, you have PR, you have KOLs, you have partnerships, you have, just your kind of your standard distribution channels. And I always like to map those channels first and foremost to what is the content that we're serving across those channels, and then mapping that content to the specific point of confidence building that we are trying to convert the users into, right? And so just to give you an example, right? Focusing in on a DeFi tool, for example, right? Innovative DeFi tool, let's say real world assets, right? That's a huge sort of hype in the market right now, tokenizing real world assets. Well, how do you take the, let's say, non-native crypto user, right? Somebody who might have dabbled, might have invested in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then make them a power user of an RWA protocol? Well, in my mind, the process is fairly straightforward. Why does the user even care about RWA? What are the benefits of tokenizing real world assets? Okay, so we've crossed that off the list. We've explained the benefits. Now the user is interested. What's the next step? How is this actually being done in practice? Not theoretically. What does this product look like? What does the user interface look like? Is it simple? Is it super complicated? Does it look like it's going to have a steep learning curve? Does it look like you can easily lose a lot of money very quickly? I mean, these are the thoughts that are going through a user's mind when they're evaluating whether it's worth investing their time and energy into something. Okay, so now that we've shown them what the product looks like, what are the case studies, right? Who has used this product successfully? How is it being used to achieve the goals that somebody has set out for themselves? does this align with what the user's goals are, right? And so you are literally, and the way that I describe a funnel is actually I kind of try to align it with throwing a house party. First of all, you are trying to generate awareness by putting up flyers all over your neighborhood. We're having a house party. It's going to be crazy. There's all this stuff involved. Great. You have people interested. That is what the bull market is doing for us. The bull market is putting up the flyers. Somebody shows up at your door. Do you open the door and say, okay, go figure it out? No, of course not. You open the door, you say, hi, welcome to my party. This is my house. You grab the user by the hand and you say, let me show you where everything is that you could be interested in so you have a great time. So you show them where the bathroom is, you show them where the drinks are, you show them where the snacks are, you introduce them to a few people. Now all of a sudden these people are confident, they're having a good time, they're getting the value out of your party that you promised them on the flyer. And of course, the next time that you throw a party, the next time that you launch a product, the next time that you launch an update, what are those people going to do that had a good time at your party? They're going to tell their friends about it. They're going to say, hey, I went to this crazy party. I know everything there. I know everybody there. You should come with me. Let me show you around. You're going to have a great time. And so in my mind, I take that same schematic and I basically map it to the product and to the user acquisition funnel to kind of create this very, very logical journey where I think everybody kind of overcomplicates these concepts. But in my mind, it's all extremely simple as long as you know ultimately what the end goal is and how you're going to get somebody there. Or at least that's how I think about it. Maybe I'm crazy.
And maybe crazy's the best way to be sometimes, Phil. Again, amazingly explained. Thank you for your thoughts. Look, as we start to finish up this part of the podcast, love to understand, I guess, what is coming down, the product pipeline and some of the different segments of the CrossFi ecosystem. Maybe kind of what you guys are looking for in terms of industry trends for next year. I saw a tweet from you guys, I think, talking about well, there's quite a few different things, everything from, making sure that interoperability is, of course, a priority for all builders, especially in DeFi. Maybe a renewed focus on privacy. Of course, there's the ever-growing, ever-interesting intersection of AI and blockchain. I'm sure you guys are across some of this. Yeah, what are you guys looking for?
So for CrossFi, I think the next year or so looks as follows. We are definitely going to be bringing a lot of very, very interesting and unique partnerships to market. It's something that we've been working on for a very long time behind the scenes. We recently launched CrossFi into mainnet, which is basically the green flag for us to start shipping some of these partnerships that we've been working on. So definitely keep an eye out for some of these announcements coming over the next few months. And then I think, I dropped a spoiler earlier. Real world assets are definitely a big focus of ours. I think it is going to be a major trend in the coming years as we try to sort of bridge the gap between the real world and cryptocurrency as it stands. Another thing that we're extremely excited about is our flagship payment product. I mean, that is the core of why we're doing everything that we're doing the way we're doing it at CrossFi. And so a lot of announcements coming about our core payments product. And then I think, just innovation as a whole, we are always pushing the envelope when it comes to the types of things that we're working on, the types of teams that we're looking to bring onto the CrossFi blockchain. And so, any major trend that you're seeing out in the market, we are already working with a team that is developing interesting products around those trends. AI, DePIN is another pretty interesting one that I think is combining something that is already a very big component of the current internet infrastructure and how you kind of bridge Web3 and that synthetic assets, real world assets, interoperability. I mean, for us, even though we are a layer one blockchain, we try to build in a blockchain agnostic way, because we are big believers in I think interoperability is at the fundamental foundation of everything that we do as a company, because we believe in mass adoption. We believe in giving users the choice of what they're using and making it easy for them to do it, and giving them confidence that they will be able to do it as easily as possible, and with the least possible amount of friction. So I would say those are definitely some of the key components of what to look out for from CrossFi. And of course, there's a few things that I can't quite talk about right now, but perhaps we can do another episode at some point in the future, and we will take a retroactive look and kind of see what I meant by that.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, look, for people that are interested in having a look at the various parts of the CrossFi ecosystem, just tell people what is the best way for people to, have a look around, get up to date, get involved. What should they do? Where should they go, Phil?
So everything is kind of based on our website, www.crossfi.org, CROSSFI.org, not CrossFit. Um, we get that quite a bit. And then, of course, follow us where you consume your content. We have a presence on X, formerly known as Twitter. We've got a Discord. We've got a Telegram. We try to reach our users and our fans where they prefer to live, right? So all of our official links are linked from our website, and hop into the community, start chatting to some of our users, join in. We've got all kinds of interesting hackathons and competitions, and great ways for folks at any level of crypto expertise to engage with the CrossFi ecosystem. So I would say that that's a great start. And then, go down the rabbit hole, explore, poke around, try to get to know everything that's going on, and find the thing that appeals to you the most. And you will see that we are kind of at the point where we are now offering something that appeals to everybody.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you very much, Phil. Link is in the show notes, folks. But yeah, crossfi.org. It is time to finish up the podcast, Phil, and we do that, of course, by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm just going to run some questions at you. Just want you to give me quick, snappy, hot take style answers, if you like. Just a bit of fun. Question one for you, Phil, is where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
So, as a user of crypto that started my crypto journey with Bitcoin, I think first and foremost, I do look to Bitcoin as kind of an industry leader, in the sense of, the price of the crypto markets do tend to follow the price of Bitcoin. And so I think of Bitcoin as kind of the grandfather of the industry, as this, infamous store of value, as kind of the, I would say, the most stable part of the entire crypto industry. Now, do I think all of crypto should focus on Bitcoin? Absolutely not. I think there's so many interesting use cases that already exist and are still to be created, that I think just focusing on Bitcoin would just slow innovation. I think it would, keep everybody complacent. It would preserve the status quo, but that's not why we're here. So would I call myself a Bitcoin maximalist? Absolutely not. Am I a huge believer in the value of Bitcoin and kind of what it brings to the industry, and, the fact that it basically kicked off everything that we're doing today? Yes, absolutely. I would say I probably sit somewhere comfortably in the middle, with a little bit more of a focus on innovation and pushing the envelope, because I think that's why we're all here.
Yeah, a very nuanced answer, and yeah, very well articulated. Well, what would you say then, Phil, is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
What I have said before, and I think the hill that I will die on, although I just don't really see too many people having, an opinion that kind of differentiates from it, is that there are two types of companies in the crypto space. There are two types of kind of entities. There are hype-driven entities, meme coins, hype-driven communities. And then there are fundamentally sound projects that are building products for the real world that solve real problems, that generate real revenue, and that, are effectively just as real as any other company that's listed on the stock exchange. I think they both have value. I think, things like meme projects, if I'm not mistaken, I think Arthur Hayes might have mentioned this in a recent interview, but their unit economics are attention based. And I think in this world, in this day and age, attention is so important. You and I were having this conversation because we're recording it, because we're going to publish it on the internet, hopefully for people to watch, for people to learn, to gain value. And so, the same way that we're kind of doing this, that is the value that meme coins, that these community driven projects are bringing to the industry. They are holding attention. Now, what that attention is being used for down the line, subject to change and kind of, that's a whole separate conversation. But I think that side is extremely valuable. Now, the fundamental projects, the companies that are actually building real businesses, look at Chainlink, for example, the pricing oracle. They're providing real value in real life to the industry. They are building something that so many other projects are then using to build upon. And so I think that is kind of the two buckets of crypto companies. And I guess my controversial opinion is that they're both extremely valuable. And some people will hate that and some people will agree with me. But I think ultimately there is no question of the fact that those are kind of the two segments of companies that currently exist in the industry today.
Yes, indeed. Very well said. All right. Well, William Gibson, famous sci-fi author, he famously said, Phil, that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Absolutely. I think one of the best examples that I can think of that I deal with on a daily basis is the hesitancy of the world at large to embrace AI technology. I mean, you kind of have this very uneven distribution where there are people that are currently doing what you and I are doing right now without having humans involved. They are having AI avatars create content that they are then publishing to the internet and then having AI automation promote it and sort of, go down that entire supply chain. And I think first and foremost, the access is there. And so when it comes to distribution, right, it's access and then utilization. The access is there. These tools are available for the taking. They are all either free or extremely cost effective. And it's not very prohibitive to, kind of pick something up and start using it. I think where there is a lot of hesitation is people are thinking about, what are the repercussions of using products like that, and are just generally non-believers in the fact that this technology will, continue to proliferate and continue to sort of gain popularity. And as a technologist at heart, I have just seen this trend repeat itself so many times. The same exact thing that happened with crypto. Oh, it's a scam. Oh, it's just a fluke. Oh, it's for drug dealers. Oh, $86,000 later, unfortunately, the people that are coming to me asking me, what do I do? How do I cash in on this? I mean, it's fear of adoption, and then it's sort of lack of belief in the fact that this will gain momentum, and then ultimately it's regret. And so what I will advise is that with any new technology, be it cryptocurrency or AI, learn about it, try it, use it, do something with it before you just kind of have this blanket statement of no, I'm not interested or I'm fearful of it, because who knows, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get traction ultimately, but there are a lot of things that do. And as a person that is living in this modern era, I think it is all of our responsibility to be as well equipped as possible when it comes to what the possibilities are. So that is kind of how I think about that statement.
Yes, indeed. It brings us to our final question, Phil, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
I have recently started really, really loving Star Trek. And now I'm not going to get into the Star Wars versus Star Trek fight. I mean, I just I think there's something about, especially Voyager, which is something that I've been watching a lot with my girlfriend, and she actually introduced me to that whole sort of, the Star Trek kind of conglomerate as a whole. And there's something about it that really appeals to me. I mean, it's the way that they create the characters, some of the innovative ideas that they pushed way back when they were, just creating this show that were sort of revolutionary for, for their time. And so, yeah, I've really been enjoying Star Trek quite a bit.
Awesome. Great answer. Shout out to the Trekkies. And that's a great way to finish, Phil. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us today. Just to finish off, please tell people where they can find you on Twitter, in the Star Trek universe, on X, wherever it is you like to hang out online. And again, just tell people where they can go to learn all about CrossFi.
Absolutely. So you can find me probably where I spend the most amount of time is actually on YouTube. You just search Phillionaire. Recently started a YouTube channel where I just kind of try to introduce crypto concepts to the non-native crypto users. I think it is part of my responsibility and part of the reason why I was put on this earth is to help educate folks and really help them embrace this new technology and figure out where they can start and how they can jump in. So youtube.com/Phillionaire. And then, of course, I am on X, formerly known as Twitter, at GoPhillionaire. And then on LinkedIn, if you're more business minded and want to connect and talk shop, you can also find me on LinkedIn at Phillionaire. And as far as CrossFi goes, www.crossfi.org. We've got everything linked there, and you can kind of pick and choose your own journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phil. All the best, and bye for now.
Amazing. Thanks, Randy.